US 5th generation F-22 Raptor fighter vs Russian Sukhoi Su-35S, which belongs to the 4-2+ generation fighters. It is stronger than the one that is higher by classification. Find out today. The most discussed topic in the information wars today is the 4th and the 5th generation fighters. When foreign experts begin to live in comparison with Russian aircraft with American ones, the scales in the logic of their reasoning begin to fly at an astonishing speed. Then suddenly some experts find out that Russians dominate the air, and then others begin to refute it. You may ask, where is the truth? Greetings, this is New Soldier. Today we'll try to find it by comparing the American F-22 Raptor and the Russian Sukhoi Su-35S. Somebody might ask why we decided to analyze F-22 with a Russian fighter. What about more modern F-35? The fact is that F-35 hasn't been finally adopted yet. This is due to the need to eliminate a number of technical problems, and in general its prospects are rather vague, despite the fact that 2019 was its debut year. Many NATO countries already refused to buy this pig in a poke or significantly reduce the number of purchased aircraft. So it is still more appropriate to compare Russian Su-35 with F-22, which has been in service with the US Air Force since 2005. So we start. It should be noted immediately that F-22 Raptor never had a real fight, even a training one against the Su-35. On the other hand, there were two conditional fighter collisions flattering for the Russian plane. The first case dates back to July 2008, when Australia was choosing which fighters to buy from the US. The US base in Hawaii simulated 20 Su-35 air battles against F-22 Raptor, witnessed by at least 4 US Air Force representatives and 2 Australian military intelligence. An Australian MP, Dennis Johnson, said that during a highly classified simulation, F-22 and F-35 were ruthlessly beaten by a Russian Su-35 fighter. Its ability to shoot down stealth planes is largely due to its super maneuverability. The propulsion system makes it possible to perform a number of very difficult maneuvers, including Cobra, Frolov Chakra and the unique Pancake, a horizontal 360-degree turn with minimal loss of speed. As a result, Australians refused to buy American fighters. The second case relates to the 13th of December 2017, when F-22 Raptor and Su-35 met in Syria. On that day, 2 Su-25 attack aircrafts at a height of 3,300 meters accompanied a humanitarian aid convoy near the town of Al-Mayadin, western bank of the Euphrates River. An invited guest, an F-22 fighter, arrived at the Russian plains from the eastern bank of the Euphrates. The American Raptor tried to prevent the Russian attack planes from fulfilling their combat mission. The situation was resolved after the hooligan F-22 from the rear hemisphere was rapidly and rapaciously approached by a Su-35S, which performed the task of air cover at the altitude of 10 kilometers. The US fighter flew quickly towards Iraq. It had no trumps in the air game. What do you think in a real fight between the Russian and the American fighter? Which one would win and why? Leave your comments about it. But let's move further. F-22 Raptor has been the only 5th generation stealth fighter in the world in service so far. This dinosaur, as it is sometimes called, was born on the 23rd of April 1991. Its main features were supersonic cruise speed with unaugmented engine rating, high maneuverability, good takeoff and landing characteristics, wide combat range, combat load comparable to that of an F-15 fighter, low visibility in radar and infrared ranges, achieved by the use of stealth technology, which implies reduced radar visibility. All the units and assemblies, construction and skin of the aircraft were specially adapted for the latter. F-22 consists of a quarter of composite materials, and there are about 40% of titanium alloys in it, whereby the ratio of titanium, aluminum and composite materials in the design of the aircraft was constantly changing. As a result, there were more titanium alloys, so the aircraft only became more expensive. On the 15th of December 2005, a ceremony was held at Langley Air Force Base for the commissioning of Lockheed Martin F-22A Raptor multi-role fighter. However, as early as on the 13th of December 2011, the last mass-produced fighter of this brand left the assembly shop. It became 195th. despite the fact that it was planned to produce about 1,000 pieces. What was the reason for the non-fulfillment of the plan? The answer is simple: it's price. Thus, an interesting case came out of an aircraft on board radar with an active phase antenna array, the one that sees targets at the range of 300 km and cruise missiles from a distance of 150 km. In this case, the work of the airborne radar units grossly violates the stealth technology. F-22 will shine on the radars of Russian anti-air defense systems like S-300 and S-400, like a lighthouse. And it was impossible to withdraw from such airborne radar unit. You wouldn't throw out $4.5 million paid for each piece. Therefore, designers thought up and applied other decisions that had already worked out before. There is a command line for communication and data transmission between the AWACS, F-16 fighter and Patriot anti-aircraft weapon system, linking them into a single information loop. The same was done for F-22. In real combat situations, it will not use its own radar, but the data from the AWACS, which will become its eyes and ears to correct the data on the location of the attacked target. As you know, the main weapons of F-22 Raptor are air-to-air missiles. They also have their own trick. They have an active radar homing head, but they turn it on when there's about 8-10 km to the target. In this case, the aircraft corrects the flight of the missile to the target with the data from its radar. This is the only way and no other way. The other way out, in the zone of target acquisition head, homing missile will not work because of the narrow beam of its onboard radar. Thus, in any case, F-22 in a hypothetical battle will, though briefly, shine on the Russian radars. Moreover, the aircraft will be irradiated in different wave ranges of Russian fighters' radars and their defense radars. And as you know, the airplane's radar cross-section indicator from different angles is different. In addition, at the opening of the weapon compartment, which houses 6 M120 armor arms, the RCS assurance will also increase. Not only the mechanization of the wing, but also thrust vector and engines are responsible for the maneuverability of the aircraft. In Russian aircraft, they represent an integral unit with engine and are all perspectives. On F-22, the thrust vector and control is designed as an airframe with heat-resistant alloy shields that deflect the thrust from the engine nozzle only up and down. It turns out that with such a thrust vector and control, the American Predator cannot quickly twist the loop and other series of aerobatics, the aid, the pull up and others. In addition, the thrust vector and control has also affected the visibility of the fighter, reducing it slightly in the infrared range. The second reason for the maneuverability limitation was a malfunction with the aircraft oxygen system. It consists of the box complex, on-board oxygen generation system, and its add-on, the classic EOS complex, which includes an oxygen cylinder and related equipment. The essence of the problem was in the switching between these systems during the flight at high overload. That is, while the flight is normal, a box works, and as soon as battle maneuvering begins, it all should work. But as a result, pilots during a flight with an overload simply choked, and in 2010 there was a case when a pilot died because of malfunctions of the oxygen system. The malfunctions were so common that US Air Force Command had to limit F-22 overload and take a number of costly corrective actions. F-22A is currently the most expensive fighter in the world in service of the Air Force. According to the US Chief Control Officer, by the end of 2010 the full price per F-22A reached $411.7 million. In 2006 there was even a joke that F-22 is worth its weight in gold, which literally corresponded to reality. At that time the cost of 19.7 tons of pure gold, the weight of an empty Raptor, was the same for $100 million. Almost $500 million for one plane. What do you think? Would you like to take such an expensive plane after all you've learned about it now? Comment it below. Okay, let us be. This should be more interested in Russian advanced developments. Russians can't compete with the Pentagon's military budget, of course, but they've always had something else: reliability, high service life, and breakthrough technical solutions. And Su-35 is just a living embodiment of Russian military engineering thought, which has always been ahead of its time. Su-35S is the most powerful aircraft in the service of the Russian army. It was originally designed as a hunting plane. Its entire concept, from the engine to weapon systems, was designed to solve the main task: aggressive air combat, interception and destruction of enemy air attack means. Its NATO reported name is Flanker E+. It is a Russian multi-purpose super-maneuverable 42+ generation fighter, which indicates that the characteristics of the fighter are close to those of the 5th generation. Su-35 meets most of the requirements for the 5th generation aircrafts. Su-35 has Advanced Management Information System, an Al-35 IBIS radar station with passive phased antenna array, new Al-41F1S engines with plasma ignition system and thrust vectoring control, allowing to develop supersonic speed without using afterburning. Special conductors sprayed on the edge of the airframe and the cabin light. In Su-35, special materials for decrease in radar cross-section have been applied. Many Western experts point out that Su-35S is more visible than F-22 as a major drawback. At the same time, they carefully conceal the Russian fighter's capabilities as a combat unit. Well, it's not for numbers, is it? Reduced radar visibility reduces the maximum detection distance of any invisible aircraft in ideal conditions by 30% only. In real situations, this indicator is even lower, as aircraft work on the radar of air defense and aviation complexes. Why would the plane need that? Its design already has a rather low radar cross-section, but the avionics system gives it a number of advantages that cover the identified effect with a vengeance. Number 1. The 1 kW and Al-35 IBIS radar can detect targets at a range of 300 km, while 250 km of radar can be captured. The same is true for F-22, but with a power of 12 kW. In addition, as we found out, the Raptor fighter in long-range detection is held by AWACS. Number 2. Su-35S has its arsenal and on-board defense complex Hibini 10M electronic countermeasure system. It's guaranteed to detect the radiation of all radars on the battlefield and forms an algorithm for counteracting it in the form of interference on the same frequencies. On the one hand, the Hibini influences the ability of AWACS to give its aviation precise coordinates about the Russian aircraft. On the other hand, the airborne defense complex disguises the aircraft from enemy aircraft radars and doesn't let the missile homing heads take over. As a result, the AWACS and F-22 will point AN-120 missiles at a phantom target, the location of which will be at a great distance from Su-35S. But the Russian fighter will be able to send them some gifts in response, the long-range air-to-air missiles, which will not miss the address. This mode of operation of Hibini 10M electronic countermeasure system is called the Deception. It has other modes, but let them remain a secret for now. And now the most interesting thing is that in 2013 the cost of Su-35S produced for the Russian armed forces was $45 million in US dollars terms. The export version cost $82–85 million depending on the configuration. After the rubble fell, the cost fell to $20 million, which made Russian aircraft the absolute leader in the fighter aircraft market in terms of price-quality ratio. Judge for yourselves, one F-22A cost the US Army for $150 million, and Su-35S cost the Russians $20 million, 20 times cheaper. One F-22 against 20 Su-35S? How long do you think we will take the Western market with the price, or is it time to look at other dominant factors? Discuss it in the comments below the video, and we'll move on. So, what we can see, F-22 not so good as it is told by the American mass media and NATO experts. And Su-35S, on the contrary, in terms of efficiency-cost ratio, is not just as good as the American fighters of the 5th generation, but is a sequence better than them. Such a nightmare for Pentagon and NATO. Even worse, for the US Air Force is the fact that they can already see all the shortcomings and problems of the new F-35 when it hasn't even entered into service, and somewhere by 2020 they will be the planes of the future. Invisible Sukhoi Pak-4 prospective aeronautical complex of frontline air forces. However, this is a subject for a separate story. In the meantime, don't forget to comment and discuss today's episode. And don't forget to subscribe the channel. See you later.